So I just got out of the movie The Invisible Man. The Invisible Man is a simple movie about a girl who's basically breaking up with a boyfriend, and her boyfriend's abusive and all this kind of stuff. So she's trying to get away, and he fakes his death, but then comes after her. But the problem is he's invisible. Like, he has invented this invisible suit to make him invisible, and like no one believes her that he's invisible and still alive because he kind of like fake his death, like I said, and everyone thinks he's dead, but it's really a plot with the ex-boyfriend and the ex-boyfriend's brother, and they're all plotting to basically ruin her life, make her crazy, and then try to essentially kill her. And it's such a good movie. This movie's atmosphere puts you on edge from almost the beginning of the movie. I mean, you are literally on edge, and that's some things that some horror movies don't do really well, and this one does it really, really, really well. It's just the atmosphere. The atmosphere of this movie makes you sight every now and then when they walk around the corner or something. It is, oh man, I can't tell you. Like, you're literally on the edge of your seat. I have to give props for this movie to doing that. Not many movies can do that, and this movie did that. This movie literally puts you on the edge of your seat after every twist and turn. Another thing that makes this movie good is the acting. The acting is solid in this movie. I mean, you actually feel like the actresses actually have been abused by these characters, and you actually feel that these characters are abusive. Not only that, but you also feel for the other characters in here because you understand why they think he's crazy. And I mean, everyone just did, like a really good job in just the acting portion of this movie. This is one of those movies where if it wasn't the type of movie it was, it would probably be nominated for an Oscar. I mean, if this movie wasn't in the horror category, I would say it's probably Oscar worthy just on the acting alone. It's that incredible in the script and the way they told this story. This is one of those modern day horror films that probably should get a little more attention than it should. I think it's probably going to become a cult classic at some point because this is what, like, the third remake of the actual Invisible Man, and this is so far the best version of the Invisible Man I have ever seen. And I really like this movie a lot for 2020. I mean, a lot of it was most likely green screen, obviously, but I really like how they actually shot this movie. This movie is beautifully shot. The director exactly knew what he was doing when he directed this movie, because the movie feels like, movie feels tight. Much like 1917, this movie just feels tight. And it doesn't matter if you're in open space or not. The way the camera works and all this kind of stuff, it takes one angle, so you're only seeing, the view from one angle, which I don't know why it does it this way, but when you shoot from one angle, it makes everything feel tight. And just the music in this movie, the music and the score and all that kind of stuff, oh my god, I really loved it. It was, it felt like this was a true horror film. It wasn't anything iconic like Michael Myers, Freddy, or Jason, or anything like that, but the music really puts you in the idea that you want to hold your breath as you make these turns and all this kind of stuff. It's really well done movie. Perfectly directed, perfectly acted, uh, screenplay that's pretty good. I don't know where I'm gonna rate this exactly yet. I think I'm gonna rate it about, I'm gonna say, probably 8 out of 10. It's really a good movie, and I think anyone who sees it and who enjoys horror will probably enjoy this movie. It's pretty good. I will have to say one negative thing about this movie. It drags on a little too long. I think the last 40 minutes of this movie kind of drags it a little bit. I mean, they should have ended it in the living room with the final fight, but instead they let it drag on a little bit, and that dragging on a little bit really, it it really doesn't make the twist any much better at the end. I mean, it really doesn't. They could have just cut that entire scene out, left it like that, and it would still been I think it would have been a better movie for it. So that's my one pet peeve about this movie. The ending drags on a little longer than it probably should, and the third act really doesn't feel like, doesn't really hold up as well as it could have been. That's my, I guess that's my review of The Invisible Man right here.